Your employees don't respect you as a manager. Your meetings are one-sided with no input from your employees. Let me show you 15 tactics to help improve your respect. I've been leading teams for many years, and I come with real advice, real experience, not from a book written by a consultant who has never led a team. There are many gurus on the internet who claim that you must demand respect. Well, I can tell you that this is not the case. This is not true. You have to be intentional with your actions towards your employees to build lasting respect and relationship. Ultimately, respect comes from a deeper relationship. If you've ever read the book, The Five Love Languages, I will group these 15 tactics within 4 of those categories: words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, and receiving gifts. Let's go over a few points of what happens when you don't have respect for your employees. They don't go out of their way to help you. When you ask them for help or ask them to do small tasks, you can sense that they're just giving the bare minimum. They're rarely responding to your emails. You're sending out a request or a question, and you have to follow it up a few times, or you have to go directly talk to them. So you can sense that they're not putting in the effort to respond to your emails. When you're holding team meetings, you're doing most of the talking. Your employees are not really interested in giving input or having any formal conversation within the meetings. Your employees seem uninterested in meeting the targets and goals that you've set out for your team. In one of my previous videos, I talked about how building respect takes time, it takes intention. It doesn't just happen overnight. It takes a lot of action from yourself. If you look at your personal life, most of the deep and close relationships you have were through spending time together, helping that person or that person helping you, and building trust, relationships, and respect. The tactics I talk about in this video are simple. It's not rocket science. If you think about your neighbor, you brought sugar over because the Sunday and the stores were closed. They needed to bake some brownies. Or one of your neighbors helped you fix your brakes. It's these simple little acts of service that really help to build the deeper relationship. Let's just jump into the 15 tactics that will get your employees respecting you in a very short time. The first category I classify as acts of service. Tactic number 1, helping your employees with simple stationary purchases, perhaps IT, hardware. The worst thing that gets annoying is when your mouse is not working, your keyboard's not working, and this happens to everybody. Well, if you're able to basically help resolve an issue like that, purchase another mouse or a keyboard, or perhaps the employee wants a nice notebook or a pen that they've been looking at, those are the simple things that can really help and show that you care about the employee. Tactic number 2, just general help. So we talked about stationery, but there's other things that you can help the employee with. Asking your employee if they're struggling with anything, whether it's at work or even at home, and how you can help them. This is another key way where you can help show that you care for that employee. The second category I will call receiving gifts. Just this past Christmas, I put together chocolate bags with Christmas cards that I hand wrote messages to each of my employees. Something like this shows that you're willing to put in the time, not just purchasing a chocolate bar or, but actually building something and writing a special note to that employee. It really helps to show that you care and show that you're willing to put in the effort to give them something that's special. Celebrating your birthday. Yes, we can talk about celebrating employee birthdays, but why not celebrate your birthday? I've seen it done before. I'm sure you have. It's your birthday, bringing in coffee and donuts for your employees, making it a special day. This is another way to build that relationship. Tactic 5, employee swag, company swag. Most companies have a office or locked room where there's shirts, clothes, pens, coffee mugs, other things. Talk with your HR department and see if there's a way that you can get some extra swag for your employees. Maybe showing that your department is top notch and it means a lot to you. Tactic 6, other manager support. We all know that there's certain managers within a company who can be difficult or maybe not easy to work with. Well, if you have a specific manager in your department, bring that manager in your team meeting so your employees can have specific questions for them or ask for specific support. This is another way to build even relationships with other managers and also show that you're trying to help your employees build a relationship with that manager. Tactic 7, a special gift. Depending on what your budget is, perhaps getting engraved pens or engraved notebooks for each of your employees. It's a little different than the company swag and just general stationery, but it's just kicking it up a notch, having it as a special gift to your employees. The next category I'll classify as quality time. Do you have team meetings? If you don't, this is a good time to start. It's very important to meet together, whether it can be frustrating, can be difficult. It's definitely important and crucial in building relationships, building trust, and building respect. Being able to meet at least once a week with your employees as a group, it also builds cohesion with each of the team members and allows the whole team to start respecting each other as well, not just yourself. Tactic 9, talk about yourself. I'm not talking about bragging about your work career and the education you have, but telling your employees a little bit about your family life, what your hobbies are, perhaps if you have kids, what their hobbies are, and through being vulnerable and open like that, you might find some commonality with some other employees, and that might create a special bond, and special bonds help with respect. Tactic 10, one-on-ones. Meeting with your employees, even if it's once a month, individually, one-on-one with them. It's really a good time where they can be open and honest with you about maybe the struggles they're having, or maybe they don't like the way that you're managing them. Giving an opportunity to be vulnerable, to be open to them, giving them honest feedback. As difficult as that can be sometimes, that's a really good key area to build deeper relationships. Tactic 11, monthly potlucks. I have one of my supervisors who does a potluck when they hit a certain number of lost time days. Well, even if you don't have a special target, is a good way to bring people together. When you have Christmas, you come together as your family, you put all differences aside. Food always makes things better. And it's a good way to have something to look forward to with your employees. This last category I will classify as words of affirmation. Tactic 12, write a birthday card. Again, similar to the Christmas card, taking it as a personal time when that employee has their birthday, that you write them a handwritten birthday card with special advice or a special word of advice for them. It's another great way to show caring, to show that they're valuable, and a nice time to do it during their birthday. Tactic 13, send periodic humorous emails. You'll tend to find that sometimes you can send very stressful emails, almost micromanaging to your employees. Well, sometimes send them an email with a comic that you've got from the internet based on whatever the stress is of that particular day. It just sort of creates a little light air and makes things a little easier for the day, and shows that you have not just a serious side, but also a humorous side to yourself. Tactic 14, appreciation letter. Something to consider, perhaps end of the year or at the end of each quarter, if you've hit sales or whatever your special targets are. But writing a personalized letter to your team, explaining how you appreciate the work that they've done during that period, and how you look forward to the next period. Finally, Tactic 15, Employee of the Month. You go to McDonald's or Walmart and you see that sign, that poster of the Employee of the Month. Well, why don't you do it within your department? Even if the other departments aren't doing that, who cares? It's a way to do something different and a way to be memorable to your employees by saying, hey, we're going to start this, try it out. But don't just give up after the first month. Do it for a number of months before you assess if it's beneficial to your team or not. All of this information that I've provided to you is useless unless you actually put it into play. I will leave a template within the description just so you can track how you're doing over the 12 months period if you actually implemented some of these things. Because basically, you should assume that if you don't do any of this stuff, you shouldn't expect more respect from your employees, more relationship building from your employees. If you do some of this stuff, you should expect that the relationship between your employees is going to increase. Maybe at different levels, but I can promise you it will. These small, simple things are what cause relationships to build. It's not about psychology books. It's not about what consultants tell you, because consultants typically have never managed an employee. So they have zero clue of what works in real life. As always, if you're struggling with anything in regards to leadership or respect, send me an email, ask me questions. I'll try to get back to your email, or leave a comment or question in the comments field, and I'll try to respond to each and every one.